search in one of the search engines and walk you through it as a tutorial as how it's done. And I'm gonna like do it step by step. So let's begin. By the way, I'm also a smart student. We are both two smart, but you can remember me being biology 4th-year student. Of course, as you can see, we are very similar different. Yeah, let's start with.
Well, I'm here to talk about Hazırlık because I was a Hazırlık student last year and I know all the details. At first, I want to talk about language development. Many of us don't know the key words about biology or genetics or whatever your department is. I would recommend skimming some articles just to get to know like aşina olmak. How do you say it?
Familiarize yourself.
Yeah. Second thing I want to talk about is passing the EP. You can pass EP in January, in June, and in September, I guess.
Yeah, go to summer school.
If you pass it in January, you can take 2 routes here. You can just take English 101 or you can take some departmental classes. But specifically biology and genetics, they don't give 103 and 101, so no meaning in taking this route here because it will be meaningless. I would recommend just taking 101. Ayşenaz, you would like to come here?
Yapmalı mıyım? Geleyim
Sarısıdır.
Birkaç şey var söylemem.
Ayşenaz gelmek isteyecek.
Ya buraya Türkçe de anlatabilirsiniz sonuçta.
Evet, o 1. sınıf.
Evet,
bu arada.
Yeah. Is it okay if we talk Turkish here? Because it's just about current class.
It's alright, it's alright.
Thank you.
Madem ben
Şimdi Ocak EPES'ine girmek için öncelikle benim bildiğim kadarıyla 401 ya da
4. veya 5.
aynen 401 ya da 501 olmanız gerekiyor.
Orada da belli bir not seviyesinde eligible olmanız gerekiyor. 70 veya 80 yani.
Aynen 401'de 80 üstü olmanız gerekiyor ortalamanızın. 501'de de 75 üstü olması gerekiyor. Sonrasında EP'ye giriyorsunuz. EP'den 60 üzerinde alıyorsunuz. 401 ya da 501 sene zaten kolay bir yöntem.
Yani aynen.
Çoğunluk geçiyor. Burada
Evet,
Evet,
çıkmışları da var. Zaten öncesinde de FO exam yapıyorlar.
evet. Çok fazla, yani şu anda zaten daha başlamamışsınızdır ama yavaş yavaş EP'ye özellikle çalıştırmaya başlayacaklar sizi üst kuruluktaysanız. Sonrasında dediğimiz gibi ilk bir rotamız var. Biz ikimiz de İngiliz 101 aldık geçen dönem.
Ve ben çok memnunum ve bu rotayı seçen insanlar genellikle memnun değil. Çünkü mesela 117'yi şimdi 117 normalde 100 döneminde 117 normalde 100 döneminde alınması gereken bir ders normal programa göre. Ama siz burada irregular olduğunuz zaman 118'i 100 döneminde almanız gerekiyor. Çünkü hani geçen dönem vermiştiniz. 118'i böyle 100 döneminde aldığınızda da hocalar uyuzluk yapıyor.
Evet.
Kötü soruyor. Böyle garip davranıyorsunuz. Old insanlar oluyorsunuz.
Evet, bize bir de bu seçenek bir tek bize sunuldu. İlk defa bize sunuldu geçen sene. Bizden önceki sene sadece bu İngiliz 101 olayı çıktı. Ondan önce hiç yoktu Ocak ayında atlamak zaten. Biz de bir deneyelim dediler. Ben de böyle denenen şeylerden zaten hep şüphe duyuyorum.
Ama mesela bize şey demişlerdi. Bu 2 rotadan birini seçeceksiniz ama biyolojinin açılmayacağını söylemediler. 3 gün sonra falan söylediler.
Aynen, o zaman böyle zoomlar falan düzenlendi. Dediler ki kendi departmanınızla konuşmanız gerekiyor bu konuyu. Hangi dersler açılacak vesaire. Bize bir gün ansızın bir mail geliyor. İnsan hoca şey yazmış, lütfen bölüme geçmeyin, biz size dersi açmayacağız falan yazmış. Biz de hani o zaman ben çok anlamıyordum da hangisini benim departmanım açıyor, kim ne yapacak. O yüzden hani herhalde geçemeyeceğim zaten dedim. Çok da geçesim de yoktu. İngiliz 101'de de sadece haftanın 2 günü 2'şer dersiniz oluyor. Ve geri kalan günler full boş oluyor. Bu size çok hayatsız gibi geliyor olabilir. Ama zaten özellikle de kampüsün içinde yaşıyorsanız bahar dönemi her yer o kadar cıvıl cıvıl oluyor ki hep bir şeyler yapıyorsunuz. O kadar güzel ki. Gerçekten.
Boykot.
Evet, biz bir de geçen sene boykot yapıyorduk.
Club. Devrim.
Club. Bunlar senin kariyerin mi?
Karma.
Yani
Eğlenceli
ben
bir
kesinlikle tavsiye ederim. Özellikle Nisan'da bir konserler başlıyor arkadaşlar. Ben her hafta konsere gidiyorum, yemin ederim. Onun dışında da dediğim
Bir
gibi
de
eylemler
eğlenler
oldu.
farklı şeyler de oluyor. Mesela
Kimya
irregular olman çok sıkıntılar yaratıyor. 9 dönemde mezun olursan
uzatmış
aslında
gözüküyor.
normalde 4 yıl oluyor ama 9 dönem sayılmış oluyor. Uzatmış gibi görünüyorsun, çeşitli şeyler alamıyorsun.
Kitap kursunda da sıkıntı çıkıyordu sana.
Aynen.
Aynen, çünkü tak uzamıyor diye.
Benim arkadaşımın kesildi hatta.
Ha.
Öyle
Ya,
tatsız.
GPA düşük olduğu için o dönemler kesildi.
Aa.
Evet.
O da versin.
Zaten şu anda yurt problemi olduğunu da biliyorum ama ikinci dönemde umarım konuk evi yapılırsa artık geçersiniz yurtlara. Hiç dert etmeyin, bence İngiliz yüzüyorum.
Bir şey diyeceğim.
Yeni dönemde aktaramazsanız da üzülmeyin. Bence hazırlık okumakta da
Evet. bu arada.
hala okey yani.
Evet.
İngilizce alınca bölüme geçmiş mi sayıyoruz hazırlık?
Aynen.
Hazırlık gözüküyorsun. Şeyde onun
O yüzden
sayısal
zaten
hazırlık
böyle bir şey oldu.
gözüküyorsun. Aynen. Zaten öyle olmaz mı?
Bir de sorularınız
farklı
olursa
olsun.
diyelim formun linkini açabilir misin?
Forum linkini şöyle açalım.
Hazırlığa devam etmek de
için.
mantıklı bu arada.
Ya hazırlığa devam etmek şu noktada çok mantıklı olmuyor. Devamsızlık sorunu olduğu için parti demiyoruz o kadar.
Anonim olarak sormak istedikleriniz varsa, böyle birisinde de işte ileride etkinliklerde bu görmek istediğiniz bu biyoloji 101 serisinin devamında.
Anonim köy.
Ya da direkt şu an söylemek istediği, sormak istediği sorusu olan varsa da onu yapabiliriz. Aynen. 702
Sayısında hazırlık gözüktüğünüz için sizin alabileceğiniz bir ders gibi gözükmüyor İngiliz yüzde.
sistem
O yüzden de
sistem
aynen.
oluyor.
Sistemde 702 diyorlar, sonra siz saydıracağız onu inşallah bir ara. Ben hala yapamadım.
Şu an mesela bizim notlarımız görünmüyor ama verdik yani. Ben de eve aldım biliyorum. Yani.
Hoca bize geçecek falan demiş. Ben de geliyorduk. Onu bizim mi saydırmamız gerekiyor?
Galiba öyleymiş bu arada.
Birinci dönemimiz hayır. Birinci
Ya bir-
dönemin sonunda belirleniyor.
Değil mi? Bence de dönem
Öyle.
sonunda geçecekmiş.
Ama bir arkadaşım çünkü rektörlüğe gideceğim falan dedi.
Hatta o yüzden bize şey eklemişler. 101-150. section'dayız.
Aynen, evet. Ve haftada 6 saat 101 alıyor gözüküyorum güncel olarak. Genetik dersini boşladım.
Başka sorusu olan varsa yine cevap verebilirim. Okey.
Bu hazırlık sınavlarıyla ilgili falan belki sorusu olan vardır.
Evet, hazırlık genel soru bu.
Aynen. Görmüş geçirmiş insanlar olarak cevap verebiliriz.
401 501 olmayan da olur.
Nasıl çalışıyordunuz dersiniz?
Sen çalışıyordun.
Ezgi evet, Ezgi 401'di ve atlamadı. Hazırlığa devam etti. Çok çalışıyordu arkadaşlar.
Çalışın arkadaşlar.
Ben de çalışıyordum.
Bunlar şöyle çıkıyor mu? Böyle çok garip.
Gel.
Hadi söyle.
Şimdi sen beni.
Benim arkadaş grubum hep 501'ler bulurdu. Tek 401'den de 501 ders çalışmıyordu.
Ve Ezgi zorladı İngilizce bilmiyor diye.
Ve kötü başlamama rağmen gerçekten ben sürekli ders çalışıyordum ve onlar hiçbir şey yapmıyorlardı. Gerçekten bir akademik İngilizce saklamak istiyorsanız hazırlıkta lütfen ders çalışın. Yani bu çok fazla bir şey değil ya. Ben gün akşam kadar ders çalışmıyordum ama çalışıyordum yani. Benim 401'deki ilk notum 30'du. Yani onun için böyle biraz stresliydim. Yani ki daha alt kurlar da olabilirsiniz ki zaten 401'in altındaysanız kesin ders çalışın. Yani hazırlık kendinizi geliştirmeniz için çok güzel bir süre. Eğer hazırda atlamayacaksanız da yani bu ay, bu kadar ay size yeter yani gerçekten. Ve kendinizi 501'ler çok şey yapmayın. Onlar gerçekten İngilizce yani ne bildiklerini bilmeseler de sınavlarda çok güzel onu ifade ifade edebiliyorlar ama ben mesela yüksek bir kurda başlamama rağmen hiçbir şey bilmediğimi fark ettim hazırdan geçince. Onun için çok faydalı oldu. Muhakkak değerlendiririz. Çünkü yoksa bölüme geçince derslerde zorlanmazsınız da İngilizce 101 biraz zorluyor bence akademik olduğu için.
Şöyle biraz bir de şimdi ne diyeceğimi unuttum. 501'de ben bu arada 501'e girme sebebim brain rot bilmem falan yani tamamen. İngilizce yani keşfetim öyle diyebiliyorum İngilizce aslında. O yüzden buraya geldiğinde essay yaz diyorlar. Böyle eseyle hani
style'lara çok iyi alışmak
evet,
gerekiyor.
o
Nasıl
hazırlık
essay
katlama
yazacaksın?
sınavına mesela direkt girseydim ben yapabileceğimi düşünmüyorum açıkçası. Çünkü nasıl yazacağım, introduction ne, body paragraph ne, hiçbir şey bilmiyordum. Onları da ben de hani ilk başladığımda ilk yazdığım eseyler 100 kelimeye bile ulaşmıyordu neredeyse. Şu anda 101'de işte 600 kelimeye yaklaştım yani. 101 biraz korkunç şimdi düşünmeyin onları.
101 ve 102 hazırlığı ne kadar iyi geçerseniz geçin, ne kadar iyi yaparsanız yapın. Hayır. Çok farklı bir ders.
Ha, evet.
Çünkü hazırlıkta sadece İngilizceye alışıyorsunuz, yazı yazmaya alışıyorsunuz. Ama 101'de farklı olarak referans verme gibi bir şey ortaya çıkıyor. Bir akademik yazı yazdığınızda bu fikirleri toptan, baştan kendiniz yapmadığınız için bazı önemli insanlardan, bilim adamlarından, makalelerinden referans almanız gerekiyor. Bu makaleye bakıp da yaptım, bu bilgiyi şuradan biliyorum tarzı kaynakçalar göstermeniz gerekiyor. 101 de aslında sadece bunu anlatıyor.
Bir de ben şey eklemek istiyorum. Ya zaten 101, 201 ve 301 başladıysanız epeye girme şansınız olmuyor. Ama 401'de mesela şöyle söyleyeyim. Yarı dönemde geçme hakkınız var. Dedim ki epeye girmeye puanınız yetiyor yarı dönemde Ocak kümesinde. Ama böyle ya bir kere daha onu düşünün atlayıp atlamamayı. Çünkü yani böyle gerçekten İngilizcenize güvenmiyorsanız ve o dönemde çok şey öğrendiyseniz benim yarı dönemde geçen arkadaşlarım çok pişman oldular çünkü İngilizce 101 onları çok zorladı. Ki zaten yarı dönemde geçtiğinizde sınıf arkadaşlarınız hep 501'den insanlar olduğu için İngilizceniz onlarınki kadar yeterli seviyede olmayacak. Ve bunu düşünerek hazırda atlayın. Hazırlık çok kalabalık olduğu için öğretmenleriniz size der yani puanınız yetiyorsa epeye girin der. Ve epey geçersiniz, onda sıkıntı yok. Ama İngilizce 101'de çok zorlanırsınız, yüksek verme olasılığınız azalır. Bir de İngilizce 101 dışında ders almayacağınızdan dolayı da çok hocalar zorluyor. Yani mesela bir bölüm derslerinle beraber aldığın İngilizceyle sadece İngilizce aldığında olan şeyler aynı olmuyor. Daha iyi oluyor. Mesela o yarı dönemde geçti Ocak'ta. Ben şu an alıyorum İngilizce 101'i. O çok daha fazla zorlanıyordu. Çünkü başka dersi yoktu.
Hazırlıkta çalışmamıştım.
Evet, o da şey yapıyor.
Bir de 101'de İngilizce öğretmiyorlar. Artık bildiğinizi zannediyorlar ve sonra devam ediyorlar.
Bir de evet yani sınıf arkadaşların 401 ve 501'ler olmasıyla bütün İngilizce seviyelerinin karışık olduğu bir sınıf farklı şeyler yaratıyor. Hocanın gözünde de farklı oluyor sonuçta. Sizi de hoca değerlendiriyor bir yerde. Bir de yani Ezgi'nin geçen dönem atlayan sınıf arkadaşları çoğu FF'de arkadaşlar. Böyle bir gerçek var yani. Yapacak bir şey yok.
İngilizcenize çok güvenmiyorsanız gerçekten geçmenizi önermiyorum. Mesela benim sınıfım çok yani şu an heterojen yani her şeyden insan var. 301 var, 401, 501 genelde kalmıyorlar. Hayır heterojen her şey var.
Homojen olmuyor.
Hayır senin döneminde homojendi çünkü
Sen
biz
nasıl
neredeyse.
Kimya çalışmak.
Daha kolay olur yani böyle daha.
Ha, tamam.
Niye böyle bir şey?
Tamam gidebiliriz. Sorusu olan var mı?
Bu soru 102'den de bahsedecektim.
Ha.
Bu sorudan bahsedeceğim ama.
Sen otur.
Ben
101 daha çok yazma üstüne oluyor. Paragraf yazıyorsunuz ama 102 biraz daha konuşma oluyor. Şöyle Sokratik seminer denen bir şekilde oturuyordur. Ya oturuyoruz şu an bizde.
Senden başlayalım.
Bu şekilde konuşuyoruz yani çok daha önemli üstüne değineceğim bir şey değil. Benim söyleyeceklerim bu kadar.
Bir de bir şey daha eklemek istiyorum. Soru şeydi ya, nasıl çalışıyordunuzdu ve onun dışında her şeye cevap verdiğim için özür dilerim. Nasıl çalışıyordum? Ya handout'lara bence kesinlikle dikkat edin. Özellikle gramerde önemli. Yani sınıf ortalamasında hep en düşük olan şey gramer notlarıdır. Onlar akademik yazıda çok önemli oluyor. writing yapmaya elinizden gelince dikkat edin. Writing beni en çok zorlayan kısımdı. Ya High Note'dan ben çok bir şey öğrenmedim açık söylemek gerekirse.
Evet,
Sadece
evet.
kelimelere bakın, yani tam bir zaman kaybı.
Hani bu kelimeleri de
Aynen.
görüyorsunuz yani.
Ve More to Read 2 çok güzel. 1'de çok verim almadım ama 2'de çok güzel kelimeler var. Onu muhakkak yapın.
Ben kapağı açmadım valla.
Ben de şey eklemek istiyorum. Ya N101'e geçtiğiniz senaryoda kütüphaneye gidip böyle random akademik makale bir şey yapabilirsiniz.
Evet, o açıdan işte akademik İngilizcenizi, biyolojiye özel İngilizceniz geçin.
Ya bir paragraf bile okusanız çok fazla yeni kelime öğreniyorsunuz. O hani genel yapıyı algılıyorsunuz. Bayağı eğlenceli yani çok random şeyler var kütüphanede.
Bu arada More to Read'in biyoloji genetik diye bir bölümü de var. Sadece onunla ilgili makaleler var. Orası da sarabilir. Bölümle ilgileniyorsunuz.
Okey, o zaman başka bir şey
Bizi ilgilendiren bir kısım.
Lütfen raporu
raporunu da yazalım mı senin için?
Evet, ben bilgisayara koyabilirim.
Raporu referansları yazan var mı?
Fotoğrafın yanına.
Hayır.
Seninkini mi yazacağız? Tamam ya.
Kopyala yapıştır yaparsın istersen. Plagiarism yersin.
Yes be. Sen de yersin ama.
Evet.
I'm gonna continue in English. If you have any questions, just let me know. Okay. I'm gonna talk about first literature review. So, what is literature? Do you guys have any idea? Like, it's not Pride and Prejudice. I think of course it's literature, but that's not what we mean here. It's a cumulative result of human research, let's say. And if you, for example, enter Google Scholar, there is a sentence that reads, on the shoulder of the giant. I think that's what it is. Usually when you're starting a report has a theme because it's about a specific experiment. And usually in the beginning laboratories, you're gonna have you're gonna have like 5 assistants for a class, let's say, and each assistant is going to show you an experiment, and each of them is going to ask you a different lab report format. Actually, there is a basic, like, intuitive lab report format. So when we ask the question, "What's the lab report?" you can answer it by that. There's an introduction, etc. Like which thing is gonna go into more details after me. When we start to search about a question in science, like in any other area, we actually need to care about trustworthy resources, as all of you know. There are a few ways to check whether a resource is trustworthy. You can check which journal it comes from. In science, unfortunately, there are a lot of very low quality and fraudulent journals. To be honest, when you start to read them, it's gonna become easier for you to identify them. Like everyone knows, like Nature is a good journal, Scientific American, etc. is a good resource. You can check for institutes, like where are the researchers from, but I need to note that it doesn't mean all the best research in the world, all the trustworthy research in the world comes from a few places in Germany or America. But if you read and see that it doesn't come from research, it comes from a private firm, let's say, you need to be, I would say, more careful, as the biases shape the research. And you can care for language. Like it's a very basic thing. I don't mean here that it needs to have a very high and complex language, but usually, like every journal has a specific format and expectation from their researchers when it comes to submitting format. So usually, like there is no grammatical errors, no punctuation errors, or no like meaning error. Let's say, like I'm saying no, but it's more coherent as a professional piece. So for example, it's something very basic that you can notice. And you can also check the references. And at the end of each research article, there's usually a writing that we are affiliated with this place. And for example, we get our funding from this institution. As I said, it may explain if there is a bias or what the piece of article you are reading is. For example, sometimes they are not research articles, sometimes they are suggestions actually, sometimes they are criticism of research articles. And we're gonna show you, like as I said, an simulation at the end of this presentation. I'm gonna show you, for example, there are different formats in research journals. So not everything in journals and research articles. That's what I mean. So you can check, as you know, like internet handle. If it has AEDU, I don't know how to say it in English, to be honest, and government. But for example, National Institute of Health, NIH, it's America's most esteemed institution, and it has a database from like hundreds of institutions in America, and you can find actually a lot of journals, articles in here. It's kind of a research database. And I would like to note that even though there are some, like, you can look at these handles, you need to be careful. Because, for example, as you know, in America, like, there's, for example, anti-vaccine policy of the government. So it's another bias, which, for example, due to that, and they removed a lot of articles that contained word woman, let's say, that contained word vaccines, that promoted vaccines. So you can, of course, as I said, look at these handles, but if you don't know the policy of the government, for example, in a specific topic, you might not be aware of the bias. So usually what helps is checking different articles from different users and comparing them, cross-referencing them. I mean, so we talk about articles, but there is a problem in science that they are not, I don't think even like 10% of the articles are open access. So what option do we have? Of course, you can go the regular way, use our mail, and institutionalized access, but it's affected by how much money Meta has and is willing to invest into such open policy, let's say. I am gonna tell you now that we don't have actually many open access articles with MetaMail, but you can enter like Science Diary or other journals. There's institutional login options. You can use your school email address to sign in and log in. So we have our amazing resource, Sci-Hub. There is something called the DOI, I think it is, of a research article. It's the identity of the research article. When you're searching for it and if you want to find a specific one, if you copy and paste this address, let's say, right, you're going to find it in every database it is. You can like copy and paste it into Google search bar, and it will show you all the journals or all the databases the article is in. And when you're referencing, you're also going to use that, which I'm going to explain later. So there's a sort of library gymnastics. Here you can find like articles, of course. You can also find books. Yeah, library gymnastics. You can find whatever material it is, and in multiple formats actually, like PDF, EPUB, movie, and I think you can find videos and others. There are some search options. And there's like Anna's archive. Like, I mean, actually, there's like a Zebra library too. I didn't add it because it has some problems. Actually, these others also kind of have this problem. Since these are pirating websites, they need to have some mirror web pages. So the government don't close them. For example, Sci-Hub doesn't have new articles from 2022 onward, if I remember correctly, because America, the government, has taken them into court and said, well, you cannot pirate it, maybe you're gonna make money out of this. But there's an option with Sci-Hub, as far as I know, I didn't try it, but they have Telegram bot, which bring you new articles. Like I said, we don't have a database from 2022 onward here, but with Telegram you can get news articles. And as archive is like the, I would say, meta archive. It has all the resources from Sci-Hub, Library Genesis, and ZBook Library, and other pirating sites. So when you search it, it will show you like where it comes from, which pirating sites it's from. And I talked about actual mirror web pages. I want to expand on that a little bit. When you go into their official web pages, you might struggle to find the official one, but you can find that in their subreddits. In Reddit, these pirating sites have their subreddit where it's maintained, because sometimes there are mirrors that are actually not mirrors, and they are there to steal your information. You know, you can get some viruses from there, so be careful. But usually they are very, very safe. If you go into the correct mirror, there's not any problem or things you need to be aware of. The Internet Archive is a site. Don't care about how it works. Things going was very quick, so they might not be correct or anything. Here you can find actually not only scientific, but all the media from all over the world. And you can actually archive web pages yourself in future use. I mean, it's not very relevant when it comes to report writing, I would say. But when you're using a resource from a, let's say, government website, they're not there to last, usually. So what you can do to archive the page and cite the archived version. So, I mean, it's just something that will benefit other people as well in the future when they are going to search for the web page. As I said, you can use it for other things as well. It's also a library. You can literally borrow books from here. Like it has a lot of lost and found media here. So it's a very valuable resource I want to mention. Yeah, probably. I think it's that important to be honest. And Pirate Bay, I wrote it last because in Pirate Bay you need to be a lot more careful. I didn't use it for pirating, let's say, articles, because I got down all of these web pages. But in Pirate Bay you can also find a lot of applications as well. But be careful out there, but it has a very extensive library because it's, I think, one of the oldest pirating pages on the internet. And at the end, if you still cannot find your article of interest, whatever it is, in pirate resources, you can ask it in like social media, in subreddits, in ResearchGate, which I'm going to mention later again, or you can just directly mail the researchers.
They just send you the PDF.
Yes.
So easy.
It's quite helpful. So it's actually something that will aid you in your writing of a report or any other things, I would say. So Rewordify helps with turning complicated sentences or paragraphs into a more readable format. I think it's also used in like American high schools, etc., to help students reach their reading levels. Like thesaurus is actually a general concept. It's not only only one side. In thesaurus, you can find synonyms, antonyms, and other similar words to the one you're using. Sometimes you're writing, we tend to become repetitive and get tired. If you want to use something original, that will help you and also perhaps reduce the similarity level in a way, you can use thesaurus. Also, there are some paraphrase tools. Would you like to mention some of them right now? Or okay. There are some tools, actually, you can find online if you literally search for the sentence, for words. Or there's a very simple trick you can do. Do you guys know what's active voice and passive voice in English sentence structure? They can just switch them up and just change the words a bit with their antonyms and synonyms if you are, you just cannot think any more ways to do the sentences. They come very handy when it comes to plagiarism, which we will go into more detail with Bengi. Okay. Actually, we can talk about this part later. If you guys want, first we can get to Bengi because she's going to talk about how to take references specifically and reference format and some tools. Or we can just continue with this.
Report please.
Report, okay, let's do that. But if you, do you guys have any questions? Okay.
Ne konuşalım? Ben Türkçe'ye o kadar iyi konuşamıyorum. Ben de düşünüyorum. Ben sana
Hayır evet anlatım Cümleye bayıldım.
nasıl görmedin ya?
Hiç görmedim. Rütbüye sonra geçen ya. 26. Az bile dönmüş, daha fazla dönmüş.
Ama ben mesela bir biyolojik anlıyorum. Gerçekten öğrendim.
Ben onu bayağı tanıdım. Tamam.
Yeşil düğmeye bastın mı? Yeşil düğmeye bastın mı? Tamam, ona bir tıkla.
Dosyayı yapsak sunumu.
Bak oldu.
İşte başlıyor.
Hello everyone, I'm Deneyim. I'm a third year genetics student. And I would like to first say that if you have anything that you didn't understand, you can stop me anytime and ask your question. And also, if you are having difficulties understanding this in English, you can also stop and ask me, and I can translate. So what I'm going to talk about is the reference part of our report and why is giving a reference important, and how do we use some reference tools to make this easier for us. So first of all, I would like to say that writing a report actually consists of, to me at least, two parts. The first one is finding a good source, just like what Esma explained. You can use those websites or pirate websites to find a source. And then the referencing part. The rest is actually stated in our biological sciences lab report format. And also for first years, usually the assistants give the lab report format for each experiment. So to get a good grade, you actually should obey every single thing, every single word that says on that report. And while doing this, like I can come here and talk about you should do this in the introduction and that, but like those parts are learned through practicing. And while you're in lab, you practice this a lot, and they tell you what you should talk about in your introduction. So as you do that for 2 semesters, on next years, they don't tell you what to write, but you just know it because you've been practicing for 2 semesters. So I will move on to the reference part directly because of this, but like I said, to get a good grade in your lab reports, just obey the departmental lab report format and the lab report format for each experiment. Yeah, so first of all, I would like to talk about the importance of referencing. When we're giving references, the thing that we write is actually more reliable because it has a source. And this also, this leads to the further questioning of the information that we wrote on our lab report. Because, for example, we write something in some information from another article, and then we cited that article, and someone who read the thing that we wrote might be like, oh yeah, this is interesting, I should also check this article and further research this. So we also contribute to this information load. And also, like the science consists of like, it goes like this, you know, like you put something out there and then someone puts something more on top of it. And this way, like when you give references, you put something above someone's, and then so that someone else also can put something on it. So, how to avoid plagiarism?
Hocam plagiarism nedir?
Hocam, plagiarism is actually, for example, writing something or writing an information or telling an information that belongs to someone else without citing them properly.
Stealing ideas.
Yes, exactly, like when you don't cite someone else's idea or someone else's work, you're basically stealing their idea. And how to avoid plagiarism. So the only way we can avoid plagiarism actually isn't just like copy and pasting their whole sentences and then citing them. We actually should paraphrase their whole sentence because the sentence actually belongs to someone else. And next, I would like to talk about how do we give references in our lab reports. So the important things that our department cares about is, of course, like we have to use the only one format, referencing format, for our lab reports. And for our department, it's usually APA 7. And this format will be given to you by assistants. So when I was a first year student, it was APA 7 and I still think it's APA 7. And also what should be referenced? So we should reference everything that isn't common knowledge. And by common knowledge, I mean, for example, someone who has nothing to do with biology should read your lab report and understand what it actually says and what it actually does. Like, you need to, for example, what is DNA? Like, this is a basic question for all of us, but this isn't actually common knowledge. And for our lab reports, at least like not an academic level writing, but like lab reports, we even need to reference such basic stuff. And also with our references, we should try to use new sources like that are up to date, like not some stuff from early 2000s or 90s. And yeah, I would like to talk about some very little details that I lost points back in my day. So in text referencing, this example is actually a screenshot from my own lab report. So we should, so we wrote the sentence, for example here, this will make the duration of the treatment longer since that sentence. So as you can see, I put the dot after I gave the in-text reference in the wished format. So this might seem like a small detail, like we could have also, you might say, what if I put the dot like right after the sentence ends, but like they sometimes make you lose points from them. So I think you should like pay attention to this because this was the thing that I did the most.
Because it also makes the in-text reference like when you read it, you don't particularly understand to which sentence the in-text reference belongs to. If you put the comma to the end, it will be for this sentence. But if you put it to the beginning, it will be for the upcoming sentence, even though it will be a wrong format.
Yeah, and with end-text, we should care about the alphabetical order. Again, this is a screenshot from one of my reports. And as you can see, the letters are alphabetically ordered, like B, C, D, it goes on like this. And you also should give indentations right here. And you can do this by clicking on the tab button on your computers. As you can see, they all should be aligned like this. However, doing this by hand manually is actually really hard and time-consuming. So because of this, we use some reference tools. And today I will teach you how to use the reference tool Zotero. Why do we use reference tools? Yeah.
When you're doing the tab thing, it doesn't always do
Yeah.
it like we want them to.
Yeah, the Word app is actually like, I hate that app.
Can you also show us how to do it?
Yeah, I can do that, but with Zotero, it actually does it manually, so you don't have to do anything. So I would like to emphasize on how to use this reference tool.
Where can we find good references? For example, for our first report, it's about the Microscope, and I was using Much Library, but all of the things that come up
guys will show you some databases such as Web of Science and NIH, in which you can sort search through.
So with this Zotero app, actually maybe not the first report, but the other reports were too overwhelming for me, and like finding a source and then trying to find the correct reference format was actually really time consuming. And you know, we have like very tight deadlines, and like you lose 1 point for every minute that you didn't upload it. So like this way, Zotero helps us a lot. And there are also other reference tools like Mendeley, but I like this one more. So this is actually what I'm going to be explaining to you. So, so first of all, I would like to talk about how do we download this app and how do we use this in Word. Microsoft Word. Yeah, we just go to Google and like basically just write Zotero. Yeah. And then from its official website, we download the app. And then we go to Chrome Store. By the way, this isn't my computer, so I might do some stupid stuff. Sorry for that. And then from Chrome Web Store, we also search for Zotero. Yeah. And then here we install it. And also here we install it. And after this, let's say we found an article. Like, for example, this is going to be one of the articles that I will be used in my discussion of my brand new lab report. And to cite this, we click on this thing. You see that, right? This is Zotero. Yeah. We should first open the Zotero app. Oh, and like I would like to talk about the app too. For example, as you can see, like this is Esma's Zotero account, and like this way you can have each reference that you use in your lab report organized. Like for example, like she did this for each course, and like for example, I do this for each of my lab reports. So with this app, you can actually have your references in a more organized way, and like when you look back, you can find stuff easily. And for example, I will click on a random.
I'm not sure if they're like it. So what happened is I lost my hard drive like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
I'm going to explain a function here. Since, as I said, even though I don't have any of these files right now, I actually do have their, like what I have all highlighted in them. So I have all my library in here, even though the files are lost. So it has a, like, if you, as far as I remember, if you sign in with your Metro mail, you're going to get 5 gigabytes of storage space for all of these references, and that there are options if you want to keep the file, or if you want to keep the file as well as your like highlighting it, etc. information or not information. So I believe I have some of the earlier books still in here. Oops, I don't.
Like basically,
I have a paper open here,
Yeah.
for example. When you like you can use most of the text functions here. You can highlight like this, or you can just turn the highlighting into an underline. There's for example, a library. What I do is usually, if a person helps me, I either color code them or I add tags to them. For example, there's a comment section open here, and there's a tag section open here. If I add a tag, let's say trial 1, and I can actually add it to my other papers as well. And if I search it, let me show you.
here. For example, each of them here are tags actually in this section. So if I click bipedalism, there's like one paper that has bipedalism. A second presentation, I think it was for some kind of homework. I just tagged the papers instead of putting them into a folder. And Zotero is actually very functional because you can like add videos, MP3 files, and any other files or websites directly into it as well. So it's very good for forming a library for whatever reason.
Yeah, it not only stores references and does the reference format like writes it for you, but also you can just store the whole article with this app and the summary of the app also. So now I'm going to show you how to use the app. So here we have an article. Like I said, I will be using this one. And while the Zotero app is open, I click on this Save to Zotero thing. And then from this top little part, we can pick any classor, any folder we want. Like for example, for our first lab report, what was the generic one? Microscope? Like we can create a folder named Microscope and then just save the source to there. And then we click enter. And then now this is saved. So now I'm gonna open Microsoft Office Word.
Yukarıda şey var. Ben görmüyorum.
So let's say this is our lab report, okay? So we are writing a sentence. We are writing. Okay. Okay. So we don't make dots. We have this, you can see Zotero chart. You don't have to do anything to get this. When you download the app, it automatically comes here. And then we click on Add and Edit Citation. And here we have different formats of referencing. And for usually we use the APA 7 one. Like I said, you can use whichever ones your assistants tell you. And then we click OK. And then here it gives you a searching thing. And after the last update, the last article you saved just like comes right here. And I'm just going to search for the name. Impact of heat shock. Okay. Impact. Yeah. And I'm just going to click enter. And then enter again. And then it gave me automatically the APA 7 format. So what do we do for antext referencing? Where's the dot? Yeah, we need a dot here, but I don't know how to do it on this computer, so I'm not really good with technical stuff.
Çifte basıp yap.
It doesn't work. It makes check. Yeah, anyway, you need a dot over here. Olmuyor. Nasıl olmuyor?
Alta basıp denesin.
Soru işareti var. And then we click on this one, Add Edit Bibliography for Antext Reference. And it automatically adds the reference in APA 7 format. So we're gonna, for the next ones, since this was the first thing that we referenced, we needed to click on Add Edit Bibliography. But normally, after the first reference you add, as you add, it automatically ends the antext format too, so you don't have to actually do anything about it. So, yeah, the reason why I wanted to tell you about this was because it just makes your job so much easier. Normally, like all of you are most likely first-year students and are taking English 101. And this is actually when they teach us how to make references. And for my case, I didn't take 101, but like also in 102 they teach something, but I don't remember anything. So because like even our lab assistants are using these tools, so like we don't have to memorize the referencing stuff or like use ChatGPT or other stuff to make references. You can just handle it with 2 clicks. So this was why I wanted to teach you this.
Bir şey sorabilir miyim? Metin Bey'e nasıl bir giriş yapmamız lazım?
5 GB veri var.
Ya diğer başka mail de kullanabilirsiniz bu arada. Yani ben hangi maille giriş yaptım inanamıyorum. Ama bayağı kullanıyorum yani.
You can sign in in their own website, Zotero website, like there's no option to log in. And if you do that, like for example, mine is here. All my library shows up again. As I said, like all my data in my laptop was completely wiped clean. That's why I still have these folders, even though I don't have the book. If, for example, since I had like my space, I didn't have any more space actually, so it was my fault. But if you are in the 5 GB space you are given, everything you actually will be saved. Also, there's something very good about Zotero is that it's open source. So it means you can actually find a lot of different extensions for this application. For example, Mendeley is not open source, so everything is very expensive and it's not as easy to manipulate or personalize. For example, I use like dark mode here. I didn't open it right now, but you can add it. I don't remember how to find it. There's tools here and extensions here, and there is a like plugins library. You can just click here, and there are a lot of plugins. Some are official plugins. Some are the plugins, like the extensions. They are the same things, I would say. The people themselves make. So if you have actually some programming and like extension making knowledge, you can make them yourselves, or find them on GitHub as well. I just love Zotero.
Yeah, she's very advanced in Zotero. For first year, like I said, on my first year, I only used the referencing tools and like storage for my references. Yeah. But she knows a lot. I think we should make it Zotero 101.
I will say that there's something weird I did because I was planning to use Zotero for forming my like personal library as well, not only for school or for it's for whatever I'm reading, whatever I'm watching. And when I was like at the very beginning, when I haven't downloaded the Zotero yet, I was planning to have like a great start. I used a different website and continued using it for getting references. It's Scribbr. There are citation tools such as these. I use this one extensively in my undergraduate. You just enter. And as you can see, there's a citation generator option. You open it, and you can see it's like from my very first reports to like other reports, all of them are in folders here. So what you do is, you find a link for a paper, let's say this one, right? You can just click and copy it, and come here and paste it. But I'm going to first create a new list. I'm going to name it, like I clicked here with the list, EP101. You can choose citation styles here. There are a lot of them, and as I said, we use EPA 7 now. Like in school, I never seen anyone ask anything different. There are a lot of different citation options because journals want different ones for. You can also like change the font or like the punch here, but it doesn't matter. You can do it whatever. We create the list. We copied the link here, and we just paste it. As you can see, it could be from any web page or book. You can change their categories later as well. I just click here, and I say cite. Let's see if it's going to find it. It already found and brought it back to you. So if you use it in a governmental website or any other website as well, it's going to do the same. But if you have trouble, even if you enter the BOI and you cannot find the book or the article, you can cite them manually. You choose whatever the format they are, the resource you want to cite is. Let's say it's a book, let's say, and find, just making it up, the phrase, I don't know. For example, you go in here, a website where this book is sold. There is a code for this, ISBN, I think. You copy it, or you can just write the name of the book as well, but since usually there are a lot of other editions, it's hard to find. But if it's a textbook, you can just find it easily as well. Cite. So you enter, like, who's a contributor. You can add a person and an organization, change the source type, enter edition, medium, and publication date. Something very important when you are citing web pages is to add the date in which you cited the web page, because they are usually updated or are lost. So it's important to see when you got the information. I'm not going to fill any of them, so I'm just going to say cite the source for simplicity. So you're going to see the reference links entry. It's the untext reference, since I didn't add actually details. What you can do is come on top of your citation option, and you can see there's an in-text citation pop-up. You can just click it, and it's going to show you options. Like this, about in-text citation is usually down at the end of the sentences. This one is narrative. For example, you can begin your sentence as Rahimzade et al. Has shown in his research. If you want to start your sentence and write it like that, you can use a narrative version. That's how it's done. If you're going to use it at the end of the sentence, you should use the parenthetical one. You can add other detail like pages, etc. if you want to improve your citation. Let's say I want to, let's say, combine two different references. What I can do is just click and choose them, and choose here in text citation option, and it's going to combine it automatically. You can change the date, or change the informations for the combined version as well. Just click it, it's going to copy. So if you are done with it, you can just say copy to clipboard. It's going to copy it. You can go back to your file and just paste it. It's going to paste it in the correct format automatically, like the Zotero does. I think that's all for now.
Yeah, like to wrap it up, I would say to write a good lab report, especially in your first year, you need to just follow the format that your assistant sent you, because it actually includes all the details that you should write in your report. And also by doing this, by following their format, you just learn what to write in your lab reports. Like, for example, now I'm a third year student and I also have a genetics lab this semester, and they sent us a lab report format, and it just doesn't include anything like you should talk about this and this and this, because we already know it from the practices we made on our first year. So all I can say is for simplicity, you can use reference tools. It will make your work so much easier. And just follow the report format that your assistant sent you. And also, I would like to tell a little very small detail. So when you, for example, sometimes you have a very hard time finding a reference, okay? Because most of the info are very easy on our web. So you search, for example, you're like, okay, the assistant won't check the references anyway, so I'm just gonna text whatever. And then you might do this, but actually in Turnitin, it shows how similar your reference is to the thing that you made reference. So it shouldn't be too high, the similarity, but like it also shouldn't be zero. So the assistants can actually tell if that an article contains the info that you write, so be careful about this.
Also, for example, if you like plagiarize or do not correctly paraphrase the information you got, it's going to show, the Turnitin is going to show a high similarity.
Yes.
Usually there is a similarity upper limit. Usually it's 20% or 30%. Your assistant is going to tell you that. All of our lab reports and in the future I would say articles and such are uploaded into Turnitin. It also has AI detector software, so if you use AI in your writing, it can detect it, and as far as I know, even grammarly or like similar applications are detected in, here. Yeah, like sometimes like do not get don't get scared when your similarity level is quite high. If you are sure that you've done everything right, because sometimes since a lot of students from all over the world are uploading lab reports with similar topics, you're gonna have like at least like 5% or 10%, like exactly. Like even if you did everything correct, it's gonna be like 1% because of the name or the date or like something you use, and it's not perfect.
And like for example, you write materials and methods, and like everyone writes the same thing, so of course there will be similarity. And also I would like to say something else. Don't copy paste anything because Turnitin automatically detects it as AI. So even though it's not, so be careful about this. There is a question.
I was just going to ask if you remember my question. I'm waiting for my turn.
But finding the so I'm gonna just check if there are anything else I want to mention. Then we're gonna switch to that. Okay. I would actually talk about something else as well. Like you can find a lot of applications or extensions that are going to aid you in your research. One of them is Research Rabbit. I didn't actually use it. I would say I used like one time when I tried it, but I know that a Research Rabbit is an application. Like right now it uses AI, but at first it didn't. But when you upload a paper into this website in here, it's going to show you the linked research, the other papers that your paper of interest cited, or where your paper is cited. So it's going to show you a tree, kind of like a neural network. If you're struggling absolutely with finding anything else or something similar, you can use it, or you can just, if you found the paper, you can check its references. It usually has more information. Yeah, you kind of like do a literature review like that. As I said, you're gonna have another
Department.
another part of this, BB 101.
On our second episode.
Yeah, we're gonna go into detail with that. So let's start then. Do you guys have any suggestions as to what we need to?
Microscope.
What?
Microscope bakalım.
Oh, okay. Microscope. Okay, let's first, for example, open the Q&A again, like QR. If you are,
ask anything.
yeah, if you want to stay anonymous, you can ask your questions here. And if you have filled the form and you cannot access it again, you can just open it so you can fill it again. You can just let us know. It's still anonymous, even if you ask us to open it again. You don't say who filled it.
By the way, I think there was also a question about how to find basic info. Right? This is your question, like how to find what is a microscope, stuff like that. I would say to do this, you should just find a research, and the research doesn't have to be basic, but like sometimes the researchers just define the subject, and just you can click Control F and the starting Windows icon on your keyboard, and then search for the keyword on an article.
Let's try that, shall we? So tell us something. Okay. What is?
It's the the hardest one. Those easiest ones are the hardest
Yes,
ones.
I remember like searching for what is a protein for like 3 hours because everyone knows what a protein is, of course. So they don't give a definition. I mean, if you're really struggling, you can actually use encyclopedias such as Britannica.
But
Yeah.
isn't it a common knowledge that you have to cite the definition of protein?
Yes.
Yeah, but since the research is improved, like in last, let's say, 30 years in protein research, no one cares to define what a protein is. Like they assume you know it, so
Yes.
they say like protein and this protein and this protein interaction. So let's say you can't like, if you're absolutely struggling, you can use Britannica. For example, people search for what's a microscope. These are the source. Like we find Wikipedia.
Don't do this.
Can you use Wikipedia? Perhaps. If you look at the definition here, let's say if it has a definition, what's a microscope here? The optical path. It says various types of scanning probe microscope. There's a citation here, characterization and analysis of polymers. You can just go there. It's a book, I believe.
And by the way, for such easy concepts, actually, like you don't have to look for like up-to-date articles for such basic definitions.
This is the famous library gymnastics we mentioned. Like I got the ISBN of the book. I'm gonna search for it. Hey, we found the book. So you can download it here and check for the definition of like what a microscope is. Or you can just continue our research. So like it's a university website. Or my favorite is Scribbr.
Yeah.
So it's a database of a lot of different articles. So what it does is it usually has like this small definition part, but it's I think now it's done with AI. No AI was used beforehand actually. It was even more useful because it directly cited a paper that included the definition or something close to it.
I see
So-
it still does though.
Yep, it's AI definition. Yeah, it's kind of
Slow.
For example, it's AI generated definition. We're gonna come to what she says, but I'm going to show you. Forensic science report. Let's check it. So it's a chapter 2. It's a book. So it says microscopic hair comparison. As you can see, we can get, I think, open access. What you can do is Control F and search for microscope. And see where the word is included. Okay, it starts from the history of microscope, as you can see here. Who discovered microscope, how it became what it is now. So you can start from here, for example. You can use its basic definition, but if you are going to get a scientific, a more specific one, let's go into that. It's another book chapter. You can use textbooks as resources as well, actually, in the lab reports.
Excuse me, does that include the one they gave us as well? Does that include our own textbook as well?
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you can do that, of course.
Yeah, you can use any textbook. Like, for example, in textbook you get in biology 101 or any other class. Like, these are the same ones, but sometimes there are specific journal, let's say, volumes that are about specific theme. They are also formed as a book. I'm going to say. I can't form sentences, sorry. So, Microscope overview. It's also from a book. It's called Analytical Science, Encyclopedia of Analytical Science, 2nd edition. Microscopy is the use of microscope, because of techniques by which investigations are made. For example, basic definition, tools of cell biologists. You can very quickly skim through these papers. If you are still struggling, you can use another database. You can, for example, go into Google Scholar. But usually, when I struggle the most, the textbook were the biggest helpers. What is a microscope? What is a microscope? How the microscope has evolved over 350 years. We found research. The microscope and its revelations. You can see how many times they are cited. Also in Google Scholar. Usually it's best to avoid research older than 15 years. But when it comes to definition of very simple things such as microscope, I would say you can go back like 20 years.
Yeah.
For example, it's from 1985, this book. So we see through microscope. It's from 1856, I believe. Amazing, right? We know what a microscope is for a long time now. So if you want like last 15 years, you can form a custom range from to like I'm gonna say maybe it's my birth year. It just happened on tour. Let's search. So it's gonna show you a result like from 2002 and 2025. So there's other different type of microscope. For example, nature methods. It says, as you can see, like there's there's like something series here in nature methods, like different kinds of microscopy are mentioned. So if you are searching for a specific one, you can go into nature methods. For example, we now know that it includes such resources. There's an option, for example, even at the beginning there was like browse articles. You can choose an article type. Like, as I said, not all articles are research articles actually. There are some comments, some corrections of an article, advertising methods in brief, like highlights or review articles, which are like I would say king of the articles, because if you find a review article, even though it doesn't include the exact thing you are searching for, it probably has a reference that includes exactly what you are searching for. Yeah, for example, we search for a review article, we found it. We can search for years as well. Where were we? Yeah. Let's go into fluorescence microscopy. But as you can see, there's also books about microscopy. You can also check it out. Like you can just go ahead and see what it includes in introduction. Microscope object length and long working distances. I believe at the very beginning you need to have a definition of sorts, contents. This book is specific about video microscopy. You guys can do at this point if you cannot like, find from the name of the articles. I mean, if you actually, I believe, just go into each of them and then they are cited greatly, you can find what a microscope is, like a definition. You certainly just change the pages. That's what we usually don't do. We forgot to do, but it shows you. For example, I went back to science direct. As I said, you can skim through them, but in front of us, you can see it's actually kind of defined. Light microscope itself is defined. There's some basic facts like microscope. If you want to search for types of microscope, microscope techniques, electron microscope, you can just specifically search for them. Actually, we found our answers, I believe. So, do you have any other questions? I don't want to take too long with that. And we can search for anything else as well. If you want to specifically say how we proceed.
me in BİYOLOJİK WhatsApp group and text me anytime about your questions. I'm Bengi. Yeah, my profile picture and stuff are like, yeah, public, so I think you can find me.
Also, you guys, I would actually like to mention research page once again, because I kind of forgot. Like, it's like kind of a blog and repository of researchers. So sometimes when you're struggling greatly, like I did, but ResearchGate has usually all the or some of the articles a researcher has. Some of them are open access here, even though they are not open access in the articles. And it has a blog. You can ask a question where real researchers will answer, or such questions are already answered. Like, for example, especially when it came to a method or discussing something in the lab report, and I was struggling to find a specific answer, I searched for researchers. Sorry, I forgot the password. You know, it's not actually it's quite easy. If you enter ResearchGate, you're gonna find it anyway, so it doesn't matter if I show you now. Like the researchers, they also struggle. Even though they use the same materials, the results can be different. So what's affecting my research experiment? They might ask, or they can show like some biases, some error sources themselves, and suggest some new methodologies. But I think usually in our department, especially when it comes to beginning class, like first year lab reports, usually your methodologies are established so long ago, so you can find a method paper that's like 100 and 150 years ago. Don't worry, you can use it. That's how it's first established. You are probably finding the like very historical beginning for that thing, so to say. Now I don't remember anything else to add. I think that is all. Sure.
Can you show us an example of a well-prepared lab report?
Yes, let's do that. We can. So, I think it's all. It really depends, but general lab report. This doesn't assignment, I think. I don't remember if it's a weird one. For example, when you upload it here, I submitted this lab report. Wow, 27th November 2021. Like it's the start deadline, like very nostalgic. I mean, it's usually good practice to name the lab reports correctly, just for your own benefit, because your teachers are going to see it. So, but it's not a problem. So Turnitin assigns a paper ID, as you can see. And it's my grade is given, but I don't see a similarity index. Let's see if it's good enough. Okay, when you open the Turnitin document viewer, actually if the assistants, they rate you, hey, see, very good report. It's my very first report, I was very worried. And it has, I think, 25 references. You don't need that much, certainly. Like the purpose. As I said, but for example, some of the assistants don't require this part. They just ask you to like write an aim or include it in the introduction part. It usually follows a basic essay structure, as in when you write the beginning of the paragraph, you give an introduction to it. Like you give an example or a broader definition, and you edit. As you can see, these are my intakes. Like for example, I did the same mistake that being told us not to do, but luckily, I think it was. Oh no! I remember. Actually, it was something weird of me that I did because I wasn't sure. I think added it for the paragraph as well, or the last sentence. But yeah. For example, can like do. You don't have to write things like as perfectly as like the two can be at the very near of it. But I just did. So it takes time, but you don't have to do it necessarily. So for example, Benedict's text procedure. You guys still are doing this, right?
Yeah, genetics also do this. It's biologically important molecules or something. I think.
Yeah. Iodine test procedure. So for example, I'm in given table 2. I'm citing which table the results are given for them, for these parts. And usually there are cohesive sentences for given in table 2. For example, I say given in table 1. Sometimes also like when you upload it to Turnitin, it can change the format and change your structure. So it's better to do it in PDF, I would say. So like the results are here. Also like it's important to write like table names here, but the figure names below. The table names should be in upper part, but figure names below, and they should be usually italic. As far as I know, they really care about this, and if you have a report format, they probably have written about already where the table and figure names should be. For example, this is how I did it. In Google Documents and Words, there's a function that you can add a drawing. What I did is I added the photo and I added a text box here. It automatically, since it's like folded as a drawing, they fuse together. So when I'm carrying them around, the text and the picture are moving together. I think it's a very good method for your mental health. Because if you are using Word, the pictures and the text are going to move around so much. Just combine them in drawing section, like it's a discussion section. I think it's one of the most important parts. You don't only summarize what you have done, but what went wrong, what could have went wrong, what went right, what could have been better. You need to answer these questions, and if you see like something weird, you should give some scientific explanations with some references as well. You know, you should base your informed guess, I would say, in a reference paper. Yeah.
Şimdi autoclass'ta olmayan Turnitin'e ekleyip feedback mi alıyoruz? Anlamadım tam olarak.
Bunu da feedback istiyorsunuz. Okay. She's asking what we're doing for getting feedback. So when you, for example, since they're expecting all our lab reports to be uploaded into Turnitin, they're opening, for example, I'm going to show you the link here. It's a link here, like a part here, where you can upload your paper. The assistants already do it. They make it ready for you. They give you start date and due date. I'm also going to suggest you to be careful because, for example, it's given to December, like 1 minute until midnight, right? But sometimes it's given right at the midnight, and you can think that, oh, it's actually, if it's, I'm going to explain it again. Sorry.
1 Ocak aslında.
Okay. It's actually the night of 2nd of December. But if here it's written 0000, it means it's the night of 1st of December. The night, the transition from 1st of December to 2nd of December. So be careful 1 minute. If you're not certain, ask your assistant. Because it might just result in you getting a 0.
Also, sometimes they do it 23:30. So be careful of that. Yeah, and I missed that because I didn't check it and I thought it was going to be midnight. But I have already written my report, so I mailed it and it wasn't a big problem. But checking it is good.
Yeah. It changed, but usually for every 1 minute you upload late. They also sometimes upload late upload. Sometimes they don't. They forget, but they accept late uploads, but through email. If it's not open here, the late upload on Turnitin, don't be afraid and email your lab assistant who's responsible for the lab report immediately with your report and explain your situation. I'm saying immediately because they are going to remove 1 point for each minute that you send the email. Like, for example, yeah, you will lose a point for that. It's very silly, but yeah. So if they have like specific comments, they usually add it here, but I think they use it because they liked it. Okay, it's like references. References, this word should be written in all big letters. It has
Capital.
in capital letters. And usually, like, they actually give me the format. I will usually write what I did in the format. Since as you see, I uploaded it very late, I think. It kind of, like, was problematic, your references. It was indented. But I think it was since the first ever report, they didn't want to.
Bir de Turnitin'de açtığın için de olabilir.
Yeah, sometimes I said it's also like might be the Turnitin. I don't remember this lab course has been so long. But I remember this comment. I was very happy. I was expecting it. I was expecting that they were going to say, it's very terrible. Why did you come to biology department? But yeah, they didn't.
Can I add something?
Sure.
Gerçi 101 almışsınızdır hepiniz de. Hayır. Pardon. Eğer aralarında 1,5 indent şey olmazsa Turnitin okumuyor direkt. Okuyamıyor yani. Onun şeylerine aşırı uymak gerekiyor.
Ben bunu bilmiyorum.
Okuma öğrenilen 101'de.
Öyle olması gerektiğini biliyor musun? Okumadığını bilmiyorum.
Yazı olarak görmüyor.
For example, it's the
they give you the font and like the space that you need. Yeah, just follow the format that your assistant posts.
also like if you want to have fun, you can change the paper color from like white to pink or green for fun. They don't care. It was my little happiness that I found. As you can see, like they gave a very good format here that I followed thoroughly.
Also, I would like to add something. Like they care a lot about where you put the figure info. Like for example, for pictures, you have to like put it on the bottom, and for tables, you have to like just the example put it on top. They care a lot about this, so be careful about this too.
Also, for example, they did it here wrong, but references should always start in a new page. Doesn't matter how much page you have left here, it shouldn't be like this. They did it here wrong, it shouldn't be like this. It should start from a new page completely. I think that's it. That's another report. I don't know. I just want to show you one that has comments. For example, strong similarity here. I got 95 here. I had 3% similarity. If I open the paper, it's about cellular transport.
Like also don't care about similarity that much because like if you wrote it on your own and didn't use any AI, it won't probably be as high so that like they cut points. And also like if you upload it way before the deadline, you also have less similarity.
Sometimes they let you, I think if this is like first or second lab report, to re-upload it. They give you a chance for it, but you should check it. It's like it's written on the upload page. They let you know. For example, it's red here. I got 5 out of 5. Let's see what this red is about. It's about the similarity. It says submitted to Middle East, technically juristic. Because we all want to send lab report about the same thing. It's like from a publication, from a student paper, from another student paper. For example, it gave similarity from very similar reasons. For example, for my citation, it's a similarity. But you shouldn't care about that. And for example, since I always wrote my lab course very last minute, I wrote, for example, this one, and they cut 5 points for just this one. So be careful about the method and what you're doing. Like,
Can I ask a question?
sure.
Because our first topic is the microscope, and there are 2 little things we can use to cite. Would it
be a problem?
A problem about like similarity?
For what?
Similarity.
Like if I cite 2 resources.
It's the same
I
as
don't
others.
think
Like the same sentences, but like paraphrasing doesn't.
I guess given this the same assignment. It's the same one. I
Yes.
think they change the questions year by year.
Neydi?
It's my Microscope cell assignment. For example, I'm just gonna show the comments at first and then I'm gonna come back to question. Like it says, need to explain more that these are teachers' notes. Here, different environmental structure. Tables here. But are you think if you don't have to use like 50 references just for one question? Even one reference is enough if you have all you need. Okay?
Genetikte çekmemiştim, biz de çekmedik.
Yeah.
Kayıtlar
Like you don't need
güzel
3
oldu.
pages. It's very unnecessary. If you can just do,
Çarşamba.
I mean, if you need all these references, good for you, great. I'm not saying don't do it, but don't be worried that you don't have enough references. References are useful when you're using them, when you're referencing them. You don't need to have 5 different ones because it's not a research article. Like, if you are trying to base a theory and hypothesis, like something completely anew, you need to consider it from different angles, but that's not what we're doing here. So, don't worry, it's gonna be amazing. That's it. Do you guys have any other questions? Formda soru var mı?
Bir şey bırakayım. I want to add some stuff.
Burada şimdi galiba çok şey
Ha, geçeceğim zaten. Esma Selin'e ve Deneyim'e çok teşekkür ediyoruz raporlarla ilgili. Üçüncü sınıfımda çok şey öğrendim referansla ilgili.
Yavaş yavaş.
Ben şey demek istiyorum. Bunlar çok güzel yazılmış rapor örnekleri arkadaşlar. Ve yani ilk rapordan itibaren bu kadar mükemmel olmak için kendinizi hırpalamayın sakın. Elinizden geleni yapın ve eğer İngilizcenize o kadar güvenmiyorsanız yani sakın bir şeyi Türkçe'ye çevirerek çalışmayın. Yani çok güzel Türkçe'ye çevirme tool'ları var ama benim arkadaşlarımdan yani benim İngilizce'de problem yaşamıyordum başladığımda ama yaşayan arkadaşlarım vardı ve onların bir kısmı bir kere alıştığında Türkçe'ye sonrasında yeniden İngilizce çalışmak çok zor oluyor ve her şeyi 2 dilde çalışmak çarpı 2 kat iş yükü oluyor. Sakın bunu yapmayın. Olabildiğince zaten Esma Selin'in cümleleri de dikkatinizi çektiyse yani çok güzeldi İngilizcesi sunum yaparken ama rapor yazarken kompleks cümleler kurmamıştı. Fark ettiniz mi? Yani cümlelerin kompleks olmaması hem asistan hocaların raporu okumasını kolaylaştırıyor hem bizim yazmamızı kolaylaştırıyor. Yani bunları kasmayın sakın. Rapor formatında size sorulan soruları belirgin net olacak şekilde ayrı ayrı cevaplayın.
Ben de küçük bir şey ekleyebilir miyim? Ya arkadaşlar mesela ben şöyle şeylere de çok şahit oldum. Hani ben hani İngilizcem nispeten iyi olarak düşünüyordum ve gramer konusunda falan da çok eksiğim olmuyordu açıkçası. Ama bazen dikkatten falan kaçabiliyor ve bize atılan lab rapor formatındaki her şeyi include etmediğim olabiliyordu bazen. Ve başka arkadaşlarımın yazdıklarına baktığımda gramerleri ve İngilizceleri benden belki de çok daha düşük bir seviyede olmasına rağmen benden daha yüksek puan aldıkları oluyordu. Yani aslında şey olarak düşünmeyin, geçip işte benim İngilizce seviyem düşük ya da işte çok İngilizce yapamıyorum, yazamam falan diye düşünmeyin. Ona bağlı değil yani. Sizden isteneni yazdığınız sürece yüksek bir puan alırsınız diye düşünüyorum.
Evet ve bu raporların asıl amacı yani biyolojik bilgiyi vermek. Yani
aynen.
Hazırlığın amacı mesela grammar writing öğretmek, 101'in amacı akademik writing öğretmek. Bu raporların amacı da biyolojik bilgiyi nasıl yazacağımızı öğrenmek. Yani hepsini yerinde kasmamız gerekiyor. Yani İngilizce 101 dersini bu arada yeni alacak kişiler için de bu geçerli. Yani o text discussion'larda falan grup olup konuşmamız gerekiyor ve bundan puanlanıyoruz. Onda da mesela İngilizcesine o sırada güvenmeyen kişiler kendilerini geri tuttuklarında hep daha da az güvenmeye başlıyorlar. Yani ilkinde o zinciri kendinize sakın hiç oluşturmayın çünkü sonrasında kırmak daha zor oluyor. O mesela İngilizce 101'de de önemli ama bir çalışabiliyor olmanız. Yani siz konuşurken işte izah ve tasmin yapıyorsunuz, sorular hakkında konuşuyorsunuz. Yani hocalarınızın vereceği feedback'e göre kendinizi daha iyi geliştirirsiniz ama siz kendinize bunlara takılmayın. Raporlarınızda bunları takılmayın.
Bence gerçekten çok önemli olan şey yani aslında lab raporlarını hani ne yaptığınızı, o izlenceye yazmak aslında bir amaç. Bir de bazı işte bilimsel sebepler sunmak. Şu bana hep yardımcı oluyordu yazarken. Hep de iyi not alıyordum yani bunları takip ettiğimde. Yani lab raporunu yazdığımda bu deneyi yapmamış bir insan bunu takip ettiğinde anlayıp yapabilecek mi? Mesela genel kimya laboratuvarını falan da biliyorsunuz. Orada böyle modeller var. Orada mesela siz takip ediyorsunuz ve bazen mesela diyorsunuz, bunu yazmamışlar diyorsunuz. Aklında soru oluyor. Hani böyle ilk hocanıza soruyorsunuz. O bakış açısıyla yaparsanız aslında sanat hocaların dediği o rapor formatını takip ettiğinde onu yaptığınızı göreceksiniz. Onun istendiğini göreceksiniz. Ve rahat işte cevap yazacaksınız, devam edeceksiniz. Ve bazen takıldığınızda eğer takıldık olursa işte bir paragraftır, bir sorudur ve zamanınız az var diyelim. Benim önerim puanı çok olan bölümlere bakın. Mesela discussion 60 puan arkadaşlar. Gerçekten zamanınız çok az var. Hani mesela aslında introduction, purpose falan yazacaksanız mesela bu introduction ve discussion aynı süreyi alabilecek bir şey. Introduction çünkü yeni şeyler arıyorsunuz. Discussion'da bir de yaptığınız deneyi açıklıyorsunuz mesela. Onu açıklarken şunu yaptım, şuraya dönüp derken aslında bir referansa ihtiyacınız yok. Onu neyi ne için kullandığınızı, hangi kimyasal ne için kullandığınızı, o kimyasal ne yaptığını, niye adımları işte ardı ardına izlediğinizi falan bu önemli yerden bahsettiğiniz ve sebepleri açıkladığınız için hep puanı genelde yüksek oluyor. Mesela burada 60 puanmış. Tek bir hata yaptığım için de 5 puan yapmış. Eğer öyle bir zaman kısıtınız varsa şey yapın, yani discussion'dan başlayın derim. Ve mesela discussion'da aslında direkt kendisi ya da aslında raporun hepsi öyle bir essay formatını izliyor aslında. Öğrendiğiniz o formatı. Mesela nasıl giriş yaparken mesela eğimini tekrardan bahsediyorum mesela burada. Burada aslında minik bir essay'in kendisi var. Açıklamalarını yapıyorum. Sonra en sonunda conclusion veriyorum. O conclusion, bu sonuçlandırmak önemli ki conclusion'un kendisi zaten 15 puanmış burada discussion içerisinde. Yani o açıdan düşünürseniz bence daha da yardımcı olacak. Ama çok başarılı olacağınıza eminim. Aklında sorunuz olursa hani birbirinize dayanışın, gruplarda sorun, arkadaşlarla sorun, çözmeye çalışın. Hatta hocanızın yanına gidip sorun. Yani bunu herkes farkında yeni başladığınızın o açıdan yardımcı oluyorlar.
Similarity konusunda da sen sormuştunuz. Yani hocalar ilk defa rapor yazdığınızın farkında oluyorlar. Yani orada bir paragraf direkt AI çıkmadığı sürece ufak parafraz, similarity'leri falan onları göz ardı ediyorlar. AI çıktığında o göz ardı edilemeyecek bir şey oluyor. Onun dışında olmuyor.
Evet. Öyle sanırım. Başka bir sorusu olan var mı? Mesela burada laboratuvar sırasında not alırsanız o inanılmaz yardımcı oluyor. Hoca mesela bazen sebebini söylüyor bir şeyin neden olduğundan yeni başlarken. Hatta hoca lab raporunda hocam şunu söyledi diye yazamazsınız. Ama bunu bildiğiniz için aslında literatür taradığınızda, basitçe makale üzerinden geçtiğinizde neyi aramanız gerektiğini de iyi biliyorsunuz. Daha bir kendinize güveniyorsunuz bulduğunuz sonucu. Evet zaten bunu nasıl etmiştik, bu mantıklı şeyini bu şekilde kurmuştuk diye. O yüzden aslında çok önemli. Laboratuvarda tuttuğunuz notlar onları kullanın. Bu kadar. Sürekli bu kadar